This is a thing. Good Shepherd is alleging that we have had unauthorized use of their trademark. The internet is an interesting place. We make fun of each other, and we can do that. We can make our gripes known, and we can dislike others. This is something that every individual is free to do. But I'd like to think that there's a line that shouldn't be crossed when it comes to initiating conflict. At minimum, one should be prepared to deal with those consequences. What we have right now is a textbook example of gay ops.
We contacted that charity.
Okay.
Yeah. And at first I thought maybe I shouldn't talk about this because I don't want to fuck up that guy's deal. The comic book charity guys.
Sure.
Yeah, but then I thought, fuck it. And this is where I said, well, I probably shouldn't say this kind of stuff because it'll fuck up this guy's deal. But again,
it's already happened.
Fuck it. Man, I'm an asshole for fun. I like it. If I can say I'm doing it for kids, it's just a socially acceptable way for me to act like a psychopath.
Yeah.
See? So this is a big opportunity for me to be cruel to people. It's called motivation.
Should we dump into this trademark thing?
Sure.
Let's do this. Let's do a general background because I don't know how much you know about this like drama thing that's going on. I want to address a couple things out the gate because I know I'm going to get heat over this. I already hate the internet today because of it. But so let me do a quick background on the social aspect of it, which will bring us right into the trademark case, which came through yesterday. So here's the background. Eric July is young Rippa. He has created the Rippaverse. And he is made 2 comic books in that Rippaverse. ISOM #1, ISOM #2. ISOM #1 launched last year, made something like $3 million of crowdfunding. Phenomenal success. So what happened though, where this drama kind of started, of course, was on my show, because why wouldn't it be? Dick Masterson and Nina Infinity were both guests on a panel that I had.
Dick Masterson sucks.
Yes.
Just figured I'd pick a side.
No, it's good. That's probably the right side to pick. Okay. Dick said something along the lines of, and I'm going to paraphrase here, and I'm probably going to misquote people, but it's just because I don't really remember the exacts. Dick said something along the lines of, I bet the story of ISOM sucks because no one is talking about the story. They're all talking about the movement and stuff like that. And Nina, again, paraphrasing, said something of, how can you know? Have you even read it? And he says, well, no, I haven't, but have you? And she had also not read the comic. And so then people challenged Dick to read the comic and do an actual review of it. So he did. He read the comic. He gave a negative review, criticized the story, said it was not good writing, stuff like that. Gave some notes on it. In my opinion, that should kind of be the end of it. But
you're not allowed to say that art is not good. If you do, you'll be challenged for the hate speech.
Right. And what happens, of course, with online communities is whether or not the creators say anything, the audience will. The audience will react and typically defend the creator, right? So people went to bat for Eric immediately, said, hey, there's unfair criticism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And things just kept escalating. Dick is a consummate internet troll. If you keep feeding him, he will occupy the bridge forever, right? Like Ginsburg did. They stopped giving her baby foreskins and she eventually died. But it took a long time, Kurt. It really did. So this has been brewing back and forth since then. Now, there's an intervening thing that happened in where, which is part of Rippa's video today, kind of explaining the drama and how this has escalated into a lawsuit. But there was this moment where on the Biggest Problem show with Dick and Vito, Vito said, we contacted this charity that ISOM comics were being donated to and asked them about the donations.
Wow.
Right?
I love that kind of shit. Do you know where this donation money is coming from? Do you stand behind it? If I'm a charity, I'm like, I like donation money. It helps me with the cause. Well, I've actually seen charities reject money before because of this bullshit.
Of course.
Oh, man, so tired.
Now, my understanding is that Dick and Vito are not actually the people who contacted the charity. This audience member of the show seems to be the one who did.
No, it's always the audience members. It's always some third party who wants to stir shit. It's never the creators. It's usually not.
Usually not.
Usually some third
Sometimes
person
it is.
who's
Now I know Dick fairly well, and it doesn't seem like something he would do. And I asked him, I was like, did you have anything to do with the fucking lawsuit, like with instigating it or contacting this organization that's suing? He says no. And for now, I take him at his word. If if evidence comes up other than that, I have to maybe modify my opinion, but I'm not going to do it without evidence, of course, right? You give your friends the benefit of the doubt. So Vito, I don't know that well. And I've seen Vito do some bullshit. So I'm not letting Vito off the hook in the same way. I like, he doesn't have that credibility built up with me. Actually, he has negative credibility. He used the term we on the biggest problem. My understanding is that it's not actually we. An audience member sent the emails, and it looks like they sent the email chain into the biggest problem, and then Vito brought it up. But I don't know that that's true. I'm just saying that's what I have kind of gathered as to how this has happened so far. Now, that was the charity thing. Following up, some accounts got flagged by Ripa or his company. I don't know who did the actual flagging. Doesn't really matter. People have arguments over whether or not the flaggings were valid or not. I don't care if they're valid or not. It doesn't matter to me. An account was flagged allegedly called an obtuse gnome, which seems to be the guy who sent the email to the charity. His name appears to be Roy. And he subsequently is a guy who emailed this Christian ministry that has initiated the trademark lawsuit. Now, to my understanding, no one who works for The Biggest Problem or for The Dick Show is named Roy, and I don't know of anyone associated with it. I don't know everything or everyone before anybody jumps down my fucking throat. I'm just saying, as far as I know, and I know a fair bit about their stuff, but not everything, I don't know this person at all. I don't know that I've ever met them or seen them, and I've been to lots of live functions with Dick Masterson throughout the past 5 years. So with that, I don't know that they caused this to happen. There's certainly a possibility that one of them did, and there's also the possibility that a person instigated this, citing themselves as a journalist for The Dick Show and The Biggest Problem for the purposes of stirring up internet drama. That shit does happen. So Eric is taking the position, and I don't fault him for taking this position. I think it's actually, at this point of the lawsuit and the stuff around it, the right position to take. Eric is taking the position that Vito's usage of the word we implicates at least Vito and the shows and Dick, I guess, in this thing. I think that is a reasonable position to take, even though I think it may end up being factually incorrect. But he wouldn't have any reason to know that and no reason to trust them. So I don't hold any problem with him taking that position. So that being said, that is where all of this has propagated. There's a lot of shit talking going on for the past month between all the parties. Now it's a lawsuit. Now it's serious. You know, this is something I don't want to see anybody have to go through because trademark suits they're not always expensive, but they're not always cheap either.
I'm curious to the degree to which they try to resolve this outside of litigation.
My understanding, and this is just based on kind of my understanding of the timeline, since this thing was filed yesterday, it was filed on the 21st. I don't think anything's happened outside to resolve it, because this seems like it'd be easy to resolve, right? Like, to me, but that depends on the parties always. Look, I want everybody to go to Eric's channel and watch that video. It's 9 minutes long. I watched it. And that's how I get my understanding of where Eric is on this issue. I'd love to talk to Eric and get his perspective on it too. I'm not, again, I don't have a fucking side here. But you can watch it there. That's what I have pulled out of his thing. He says he's got the receipts, and they may have more than what he has revealed so far. What he's revealed so far to me says this Roy guy emailed 2 different organizations, first being the charity, second being this, the current company that is bringing the suit, and that Vito used the word we on The Biggest Problem, describing we contacted the charity, implying that the show or Dick and Vito, that they are the we. This is the ISOM lawsuit. So this is Mark Holland and Associates, attorneys for plaintiff Good Shepherd Ministries International. And like you said, one of the big questions here is what was done by the plaintiffs to try and resolve this early. I think that is something we don't know. You would hope that they reached out and said, hey, we think you guys might be infringing on our mark. Can we work this out in some way rather than go straight to litigation? But who knows? They don't have to, but you'd hope that they would. And then, of course, it's versus Eric July and Ripa LLC, and Doe's 1 through 5 inclusive. So this is against the company that owns that is producing ISOM. So here's the plaintiff. I don't want to have well, I mean, I already had them up, but it doesn't matter. The true names and capacities of Doe defendants 1 through 5 are not known to Good Shepherd. Doesn't matter. So there's potentially other people involved. They don't know them. They don't, but they include this in case they need to add someone later. This is brought jurisdiction over the acts. So this is brought before this court to review patent or to trademark. This court has personal jurisdiction over defendants consistent with the principles of due process by virtue of one or more of the following. Wait, this is brought in U.S. District Court, Central District of California, Eastern District.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a weird place, and I'm not sure there's jurisdiction here, because I'm not sure that it's a weak case for jurisdiction. They say they have personal jurisdiction because defendants transacting and doing business.
That can be true. It can be. It doesn't necessarily mean it is. They have to significantly direct specifically business to the venue.
Yeah, so I'd be raising a objection on personal jurisdiction grounds.
Right. So we've got an issue here: is can July and Ripa be brought into court in the Central District of California? That would be an immediate question. Now, it's possible. I don't know. It is possible that there would be some justification for bringing it here if they used some company as part of like their crowdfunding or something like that. That required a choice of law or like a agreement to a jurisdiction. Like we are on YouTube. And so if we are brought into YouTube over copyright issues that we either claim or counterclaim, part of that is we agree to the jurisdiction of, I believe, the federal court in San Francisco on those copyright claims when we submit either the claim or the counterclaim. So like
exciting.
Yeah, that type of stuff can happen depending on the platforms. But my understanding is that the Ripaverse platform is home built. It's not like I don't think they used Indiegogo or whatever. They built it. So that would be less likely. But there is a possibility there. That's not a listed reason here. So yeah, I agree. You would definitely be considering challenging jurisdiction. If you think you want to do that, it makes sense. So because a substantial part of the relevant events occurred in the district, which that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
And a substantial part of the property that is subject to the action is situated here. Now, this would be the plaintiff's
also doesn't
property.
Make sense.
Right.
Because the property at issue is a trademark, which isn't really here anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the evidence would be substantially located.
So we can go fight on personal jurisdiction for a while.
Yeah, that there you go. It's federal court. You just added 9 months, potentially. So this is an action for previous and ongoing trademark infringement and unfair competition by July and Ripa under Section 32 of the Lanham Act, 15 USCA 1114, registered trademark infringement, false designation of origin, unfair competition, common law trademark infringement, and the California Unfair Practices Act, which is any business practice that is unfair at all, falls under this thing. It's a very general catch-all act that that I've talked about on this program several times in relation to other suits. So they seek injunctive relief damages and attorney's fees. So beginning in or around 1999, continuing since that time, Good Shepherd created and operates ISOM, an abbreviation for Good Shepherd's International School of Ministry. Good Shepherd operates other ministries as well, such as Women of the World and Youth Bites. Wow, did they sue World of Warcraft and Youth Bites? But by far,
Legal Bites.
Yeah, there you go. But by far, its main outreach and public persona is based on its trademark ISOM. In that regard, and upon information belief, around 90% of their activities are carried out under its trademark ISOM. In addition, consumers make out their checks and other payments to ISOM. In fact, Good Shepherd does not even appear on the covers of many of Good Shepherd's publications and products, and this is where I think they're going to be hinging a lot of their stuff. They publish stuff. Like they're a publisher of something. So they make some sort of printed material. And
I'm willing to accept for the purposes of the moment that they are using the mark ISOM, that they use it in trade, that it is a dominant mark of theirs. So I'm willing to sort of concede that for the moment. It just feels so distinct from the alleged infringing use. What reasonable consumer would look at these two things and be like, oh yeah, these are affiliated,
Yeah, and that is the question. And I don't know the answer to that. And I'm often disagreeing with the trademark office on that question too. Like, I don't see reasonableness. But what I do know is I have a comic book on my shelf, for example, about Jesus, but it's in the style of like a modern comic book. It's a comic book. So the idea, and it's going to depend on what they show me that ISOM publishes, but the idea that a Christian ministry that does outreach through publications would publish a comic book that could be confusing.
Also, not for
in some
nothing,
way.
but the fact that people make checks out to ISOM is so irrelevant to the immediate issue.
Right.
It's like,
right.
Who cares? It has nothing to do with what a consumer who looks at the comic book would understand. That someone writes a check me at the ISOM.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to very mildly disagree. I think going with the theme of this paragraph, they say, Good Shepherd does not even appear on the covers of many of their publications and products, although Good Shepherd typically is printed or otherwise included in the information inside those publications and materials, or is otherwise associated with those activities and products. So what they're saying is that no one knows us as Good Shepherd. Everyone knows us as ISOM, to the extent that even when they're paying our company, Good Shepherd, they're writing it out to ISOM. And so therefore, when they see ISOM on 2 covers, this is the argument I would make if I was their attorney, right? When they see ISOM on this cover, they're not going to expect to see ISOM, a Good Shepherd publication, or a subchapter of Good Shepherd Ministries somewhere else. When you're looking, or when you see it on a shelf somewhere, you're seeing ISOM and associating with that brand. That I think is where they would go with that.
I guess.
Now, this is not a strong legal argument, right? Like, this is just the persuasive element of writing the complaint. So by way of example, below on left is a screenshot of a cover of one of Good Shepherd's publications. On the right, cover of that, a screenshot of a cover of that same publication. Okay, so here it is. Here's ISOM up here. And then down here, you have Good Shepherd Ministries on the inside page. I don't know why it said cover twice, but this is page 2. So you'll have Good Shepherd Ministries.
So you got the ISOM logo, International School of Ministry in top right. Then you got International School of Ministry on the left-hand side and sort of a smaller font there. And you got on the right-hand side, ISOM and the ISOM logo again. International School of Ministry in the first paragraph. Yeah. All right, fine.
So here we go. This is their thing. Since that time, 1999, through decades of hard work, creative product development, high quality in its products and services, Good Shepherd has earned great loyalty and renown within its industry, including as described below. Primarily known to the public under its trademark ISOM, chose to register its trademark ISOM as discussed rather than register Good Shepherd itself. Operates online under its main website, isom.org, and a related website, isomonline.org. Good Shepherd's identity is strongly tied to its isom.org website, which it purchased and has been using for almost 25 years. Good Shepherd's ISOM is the largest multi-denominational video-based Bible school in the world, providing undergraduate and graduate level biblical education and ministry in the marketplace. It's known for its ethnic diversity, with over 85 languages available, with more than 20,000 schools joining the ISOM community from 150 countries. ISOM's world-class facility or faculty includes nearly 100 ministers.
Doesn't hurt to puff yourself up in the middle of your complaint. That's fine.
Yeah. I guess if any of the patent attorneys reviewing this are like, you know what, I really want to just go into ministry and go to school, and I read about this one somewhere. So they've developed and marketed numerous.
Give me a free membership now. That'd be good.
They've developed and marketed numerous printed and electronic.
I'm already a minister of the Universal Life Church. Maybe we could add that to the list. Are you a member? Are you a minister of the Universal Life Church?
I thought about it because I was going to do a wedding for someone. Then I, decided that God would probably strike me down if I did. So I didn't do it. But my friend is.
I blessed you.
Thank you, Kurt.
No worries.
Now I won't get struck down. So they've developed and marketed numerous printed and electronic media products, clothing, promotional items, and related products, the Good Shepherd products, which are marketed and sold throughout the United States and beyond. Now, again, I know people are going to say this is way different, but you have to recognize there are similarities here. Whether those similarities are enough is the question. ISOM, Eric July's thing, is a printed and electronic media product. It has a PDF version that comes with your purchase. You also have, I believe, don't quote me, I might be incorrect there, but I believe there's a digital version that you can get. There's also the physical copy, the printed stuff. They have a website for the Rippaverse where ISOM appears. They also do have other marketed products. I believe shirts, hats, stuff like that, that's available. So they are producing products of the same nature. Does that mean they're automatically in the same category or likely to cause confusion? No. But we have to recognize where the arguments are being made and why they're being made in these lawsuits. Like, that's the whole point of them. So the Good Shepherd products, which are marketed and sold through the United States and beyond under Good Shepherd's trademark ISOM. Good Shepherd has spent a substantial amount of time, energy, and money advertising and promoting its ISOM trademark products in the United States and throughout the world, as a result of which it has developed substantial and exclusive goodwill and reputation in connection with the ISOM mark for Good Shepherd products. As a result, you now market and sell Good Shepherd products under the well-known trademark ISOM, which trademark is used to identify and distinguish blah, 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 blah. It's the owner of U.S. trademark registration number 3,517,031, registered October 14th, 2008 for ISOM as a standard character mark covering the following. International Class 9 audio and video media, namely CDs, DVDs, CD-ROMs, MP3 recordings, CDRs, MP3, CD-ROMs, audio CD-ROMs, and cassettes featuring religion, faith, and inspirational content. Electronic media, namely CDs, DVDs, CD-ROMs, MP3 recordings, CDRs, and blah, 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 blah. And cassettes featuring recordings of the field of religion, pre-recorded stuff, audiobooks and electronic books having educational, inspirational, faith, and fiction and entertainment content. So here we got fiction, educational, inspirational, faith, fiction, and entertainment content, video discs and tapes, downloadable video recordings featuring audiobooks and electronic books having educational, inspirational, faith, fiction, and entertainment content, and Class 16 printed instructional, educational, and teaching materials, namely brochures, notebooks, printed tests, printed exams, and workbooks on the field of religion. So it looks to me like they're going to be focusing on this fiction and entertainment content in printed and electronic materials. Actively using the mark since at least as early as December 25th, 1999. They've enjoyed extensive recognition in the marketplace. Continuously marketed and sold since then, bearing the ISOM mark sold by Good Shepherd, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Over the internet, including among other things, social media is Facebook and Instagram, regular YouTube videos, by emails and hard copy mailing, in-person sales, telephone orders. Result of these efforts and expenditures combined with substantial sales of quality Good Shepherd products, relevant consuming public has come to recognize the ISOM mark as favorably distinguishing Good Shepherd products. Okay. Widespread public use, ISOM mark has become an asset of significant value. So here's the infringement. Oh, thank God. I hate these sometimes. And this one isn't even unreasonably bloated. So on information and belief, Julian Ripa is a relatively new comic book graphic novel company marketing and selling its books and related promotional and other products throughout the United States and around the world, including into California and into this district. Upon information and belief, Julian Ripa markets and sells its books and related products directly to consumers as well as through retailers. They began using its ISOM mark on or about July 9th, 2022, nearly 23 years after it commenced use of their mark. In fact, their own online admissions, Julian Ripa has admitted that in 2022, they launched their entire company using the ISOM mark. Specifically, they posted online that Ripaverse is finally here and ISOM #1 is the perfect comic book to launch it. Okay. So here's their posts on Ripaverse with the campaign.
I'm not really feeling a lot of similarities between the two. I have to be honest. That mark does not really strike me as very similar to the other mark.
Yeah, this, like the art, you're talking about the art style, right? Like, does not look like the other one. The other one has a large eyes, smaller letters. There's like a globe behind it. It's kind of swirly. So yeah, this does not look like that, obviously. So here we go. On information belief, related screenshot showing the cover of the first publication, 96-page book, is hero moniker name that they chose for the main character. So again, we've got the same consistent use there. Showing the above corner in the screenshots below, red circles and arrows added for emphasis. And in addition to using the name ISOM, they repeatedly on information belief always display their ISOM character with a cross on his belt.
Really?
So that's what they're going to try and tie the religious imagery to.
Really?
They just want us to look at this guy's crotch.
Sauce. Yeah, that's some weak sauce. Really?
Yes.
Look, he's got a cross. First of all, is that a cross? Is that a plus sign? What is that? You know,
this is interesting because this one is black and this one is gold. Does he have different crosses? Are they different belts? Are these different outfits?
Inconsistency in the art style.
I guess it's just showing the cross through the shadowing. I don't know. I'm not an artist, so I don't know. I'm just noticing things, guys. Here it's black again. The black one's bigger. It's a joke. Here it's yellow again. What the fuck?
It's a different style completely. It's changed in style. Before
this
it looks
is
kind of just like a plus. Now that looks like a Christian cross.
That's a cross,
so
right?
It's changed a little bit. Inconsistency in the art direction.
This is that's just, I'm just confused by it. Like, I don't know if there's different outfits.
Are they trying to claim trademark of the cross? I think people have been using it for a little while now. Yeah.
I don't know. The Romans. Julian Ripa's actions using the name ISOM and or the cross on the character's belt already have caused actual confusion. Example of that actual confusion is shown in the following highlighted copy of an unsolicited email from a third party. Now, this email, I do not believe to be a genuine customer confusion. I think that'll be a strong argument in Ripa's favor. He shouldn't have to make this argument because people who do this, this is bullshit, right? Like, don't fucking do this. Again, I'm still operating under the assumption that this is someone not directly associated with Dick and Vito until I see some evidence of that. But I don't care who did it.
Someone's trolling. Yeah.
But even if it were
some of you guys
Dick
out there are
Vito,
assholes.
Yeah, this is real shitty thing to do. The way he wrote this, Obtuse Gnome says, I'm an independent journalist for TDS News. This would be the Dick Show News. And the biggest, he spelled this wrong. TPBITU would be the BP. It's the biggest problem in the universe, not TPB. And I was considering doing a story on the successful campaign for the ISOM 2 comic book.
I thank you so much in extending your trademark way in such a unique way. No one writes like this. This is some bullshit.
Yeah.
Your homie? This is some bullshit.
As I'm sure you know, ISOM #1, the first comic book in the Rippaverse extended universe by Black libertarian Eric D. July, made a successful campaign by raising $3.7 million, backed by over 42,000 buyers. And the second campaign for ISOM 2 looks to be shattering the ISOM #1's record by to date, making over 2 million with over 17,000 backers located on Rippaverse.com. As Mr. July also does some work with theblazetv.com, former Fox News host Glenn Beck's network. I love to see such amazing cooperation being done to create such amazing packages and such a unique character who also can be a beacon to young Black men and women, which is currently lacking. Like, this is a troll email, and this person is a piece of garbage. I'd be curious to know when the decision was made to make a comic book character using the same name as the
apparently they
International
took the bite and they took the bite and they put it right into the complaint, man. Well,
yep. Yeah. Has Mr. July received any funding to aid him in the creation of superhero ISOM? Info on the choice to have ISOM have an image of the cross on his belt. So they grabbed that right there. What we can hope to see with the continuation of ISOM on his journey to rescue Jasmine from prostitution. And if you could, the amazing choice to offer buyers the option to donate a copy of ISOM #2 for just $17.50 to help children who are hospital. Anyone who's followed the drama knows this $17.50 was a cause of contention in the drama because I believe that Dick and Vito alleged that the $17.50 was a higher price than necessary to actually donate comic books. I don't know anything about like what the actual price is or anything like that. I don't care either way, but I believe that was one of the contentions and why this was probably included. If the person's doing this for haha lulz, that $17.50 number is a call out. I thank you so much in extending your trademark name in such a unique way in the creation of a new superhero with a promise to use American-made books and products, as well as your time in getting back to me, your homie, Roy Gerbile, a senior reporter for TDS News, a subsidiary of The Biggest Problem in the Universe and The Biggest Problem in the Universe 2. Among other things, the above, by the way, this isn't real. That's not TDS News isn't a subsidiary of The Biggest Problem in the Universe. And The Biggest Problem in the Universe 2 isn't a thing because The Biggest Problem in the Universe is the trademark that Dick owns after he won it from Maddox in a trademark lawsuit that Maddox filed. So, I believe this is a long troll from an old fan. Among other things, the above journalist email states, that we just read this, so no reason to keep reading it. According to their online postings and upon information belief, they completed their marketing campaign July 25th, 2022, reached a huge amount over their target, total of more than 3.7, etc. And they've got the ongoing one right now. Let me see if there's anything else. So again, just highlighting the ISOM stuff. ISOM mark, here we go. Here's their argument that it is confusingly similar. It's a Good Shepherd's ISOM mark. Without attempting to comprehensively list or analyze the factors involved in such an infringement analysis, the marks themselves are identical. Kurt, what say you?
Well, as a straight text mark, I guess if we ignore, all colorization, stylization, artistic direction, and basically every other factor, then sure, it's literally the same 4 letters.
Right. Yeah. If you take out all of the things that make art distinct, then it's the same. There are the letters ISOM. Outside of that, I don't agree. Presumably, the marks are pronounced identically. Oh, I hadn't considered that. I mean, they might not be, right? The use of the cross on the hero's belt furthers the likelihood of confusion with Good Shepherd's trademark ISOM. I do Let me say
I do like the implication that like anyone who uses the cross is somehow tying themselves with ISOM.
I agree that could add a modicum of confusion. But I don't think it is anywhere near sufficient or substantial to actually make someone confused. But that's the only thing I could think of is if there was something tying ISOM, but I'm not really familiar with the character design of ISOM. So my thought was, well, Eric operates on the right, and there's like an implication of traditional values. I thought they were going to be reaching into that sort of, intangible connection to religion, but they just went ahead for the low bait of the low because it's down by his penis, the low bait of the cross on the thing. But I don't think that this is actually going to cause confusion, but I think that's like the only argument they have. Actual confusion has already occurred because of the email that
you got trolled, son.
Yeah. Upon information belief, they commenced the use of the trademark ISOM in connection with their books sometime in 2022. They've developed, marketed, sold, and continue to sell infringing goods. Upon information belief, they posted extensive promo materials on their own website and on other blah, blah, blah. Infringing goods compete with Good Shepherd products sold under the mark. By way of example, in addition to competing on books and media publications, they sell related items such as hats and shirts shown below that directly compete with theirs, both bearing the trademark ISOM. So we have more examples here. Hat.
Those are two completely different things.
Yeah. The styling here.
They look nothing alike.
I guess the question is it reasonable? And I think the answer is no. But the question is, would it be reasonable for someone to see this and go, oh, my school of ministry created another logo that I want to buy from this other guy's website? Is that that's the reasonableness question summarized? Again, I don't think the answer is yes, but I think that's the way you have to ask it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could someone look at that and go, that might actually be the same thing? But there's very distinct differences
with the reasonably prudent consumer confuse these two things. And like, I don't think so.
I want to say I don't think so, but I've seen the trademark office rule weirdly on some stuff. So, but I say I don't think so. So again, ISOM.org.
The trademark office, I think, tends to be a little bit more conservative than the courts.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to get the mark registered from the trademark office, like if they filed for this mark, the trademark office would kick it. But I'm not sure that's the same thing as being infringing.
Right.
The trademark office, I think, tends to be a little bit more conservative and cautious.
This one, again, wildly different. We have the .org included on the shirt. Again, different fonts, a consistent font that they have. This one has different coloration. They have the globe behind it. There's a circle behind this guy, which that makes it
that looks like some 1988 bullshit right there on the left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 99, right? Like that's when they started. So it's probably the original design from 1999. Consumers and potential customers sold under the ISOM mark are identical to, or at least considerably overlap the consumers and potential customers of the infringing goods.
Bullshit.
I don't know where you're getting that one, buddy.
Bullshit.
Like that's a stretch to me. Like, yeah, everybody who bought the Rupaverse comic, they're actually all the same people who would buy the other stuff. Infringing goods are sold in the same channels of trade, sold under the ISOM marks. I guess online and occasionally retail. So yeah. Infringing activities likely to cause confusion, mistaken deception among consuming public as the origin of the infringing goods. Use the ISOM. That's just conclusory. So ISOM mark in connection with books sold to Good Shepherd consumers and Good Shepherd channels of trade creates a false designation of origin. Which is likely to cause confusion as to the affiliation. But I mean, they're not doing
the rest of this is just trademark filler.
Yeah. Pro forma
confusion, blah, 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 blah. Right. What? Okay. Fine.
Yeah. It's all conclusory just to like, in case we missed something. So I'm not going to read the specific stuff. Okay. So Kurt, we've got the gist of this lawsuit. We've seen their evidence and their arguments. Walk us through it. Help me out here.
The personal jurisdiction is the first thing. It seems a little weak that they have jurisdiction here because I don't know what activities are sufficient to create the sufficient minimum contacts in California. So I'd definitely be fighting this on jurisdiction. And then the other thing is like there's just no confusion between these two things.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
completely different marks. Two completely different marks. These are two completely different things. You're a ministry. We're offering a comic book. These are two different stylizations. You don't own the rights to the cross. You understand, right? Mock them about that for a while. That'd be fun. But yeah, so
Yeah, so
it's a weak case. It's weak, and I wonder why they filed it, and if they tried to reach any sort of accord before filing this. Did they just go straight to filing, and if so, why?
maybe. And some people like that's the way they do things. It might depend on their counsel. I don't know if they have a history of defending this mark. So one of the things I want to clear up for people is there's a likelihood of causing confusion, and then there's what you said, which is the more precise analysis, which is the reasonably prudent person likelihood of confusion. And so you can say stuff like I can easily say, well, yeah, the cross on the belt, someone might look at that and go, oh, this is a religious thing. I know there's that religious
we don't lowest common denominator of this. There's always going to be a moron. It has to be the reasonably prudent consumer. The normal consumer in ordinary trade, would they be confused?
Right. So this is effectively a nothing lawsuit. I think I don't think Eric's in any real danger of infringement. But what Eric is in danger of, and this is just the annoying thing about this, is the punishment of the process itself. This is a waste of time, a waste of money caused by someone who's trolling this ministry. And what he was probably doing, again, if I had to guess, my speculation is, I know everyone wants this to be a nefarious thing because internet drama is what most people want injected into their anuses every single day. But I've listened to Dick Show for a long time. And the biggest problem before the split with him and Maddox, and a big feature of the show, is emails, voicemails, and stuff that is fan-created things that they send in. I don't know if this guy's actually trying to cause a lawsuit, but if he sends an email to this thing and sends it onto the show, they're going to read it. And it's got memes in there. Like they're referring to specific criticism that Dick used in his review of the product. The cross thing is one of those things that people are like, that's a, straight from Dick's, analysis or whatever. Yeah. The $17.50 charity thing, mentioning Glenn Beck in the Blaze. Like the idea is to create a thing for an audience in the know to laugh at. And now it's gone too far. And I think that that's a really shitty thing to do. This is the same shit I've criticized Vito for, which is also why I'm not willing to let him off the hook. I've never seen Dick do anything like this. And I know people are like, Dick hates Eric July so much. Like, okay. Like if that's what you need to get there, maybe. And maybe you're right. I don't know. But personally, until I see something substantially connecting anyone to this guy, I'm not holding anyone other than this guy responsible until I see actual evidence of that. But all of that said, none of this shit should be happening to Eric. This is really gay. And whoever did this, man, I don't know. If Eric's got the information on this person, you think he's got a case for, well, so this is a question. Does this rise to the level of tortious interference, Kurt? Because tortious interference is tough, right?
It can be. The motive behind it goes a long way. The sinister motive. Right. I think about it.
Tortious interference has gotten harder and harder and harder. Like as the internet's become a thing, because everybody talks about everything now.
Yeah, that's fair.
We do get to talk about stuff, but this is a little bit different, right? This is emailing some other place with this sort of
intention to cause a problem. Yeah.
Right. Right. And that is a question. If Eric has something against this guy, I don't know if it's worth going after.
I think about it.
Yeah. But okay, so what the fuck is a tortious something? So real quick, tortious interference is where you tortiously, unlawfully, causing injury, attempt to interfere with someone's business. Now, it seems like that'd be like everything that everybody does in 2023, like calling people out or whatever. But it's really been a lot harder to show tortious interference lately because of how ubiquitous commentary has become. And it's not just talking bad about a company or a product or a person or anything like that. What it often involves is something akin to defamation being sent for the purpose of interfering, often with a competitor, to gain some sort of advantage in an industry. Something like that is where you're seeing someone say, hey, I want you to end the contract with this other person for these reasons because I can offer you the thing and I'm a better company or better to work with. And then they do something tortious, which like defamation would be tortious, a false light where they take some facts and paint them in a way that's not true to try and harm the other person so that they can then interfere with a contract that they know about. This one's a little bit different because it wouldn't be interfering with one of Ripa's contracts, but it would be trying to maybe interfere with potential business relations or something. It gets really attenuated here because there's no contract.
Potential business relationships are even harder than existing ones.
So
because of getting nebulous.
It's a possibility that I'm sure Eric's legal team will be talking about. The likelihood of manifesting a lawsuit around tortious interference for this would be low at this juncture. They would need something much more solid to really base it on than what they've got that I've seen, mainly just because tortious interference, like defamation, these types of lawsuits are becoming harder and harder to even do, to the point where a lot of people question like how much longer defamation will be a thing with the way Twitter and stuff works. Because you can kind of just go out and talk about anything and suddenly it's a public concern and the bar becomes really high when people start engaging in it. And if you're on Twitter and you're like a company or a significant brand or someone over the low 99% of followers, which is probably lower than most people think, probably in the neighborhood of 10,000 followers, you may be automatically a public person. I want to address one more thing here. Nozaku says, no one cares if Dick Masterson gets sued. He's a piece of shit or whatever. Like that's fine. First of all, again, if someone's going to, like if Ripa were going to sue Dick over this, based on the evidence he has presented in his video, he's fucked. Like that would be the dumbest lawsuit he could file. He's in Texas, Dixon, California. So if he's going to sue in California, he's got anti-slap issues. If he's going to haul in Dick into Texas, he's got anti-slap issues. Maybe sue in federal court. Fifth Circuit ignores anti-slap of Texas. That'd be his best bet. If he can get personal jurisdiction in the Fifth Circuit over Dick Masterson in Texas. And that's an if. That's an if question. Same thing here. Does Dick specifically inject himself into Texas related to this thing? Mm-hmm. This is a jurisdictional analysis you have to do. But that's beside the point. Like, I'm saying even if Ripa could sue anybody, and I didn't mention Dick because right now that case would be so bad. I'm talking about the person who sent the emails who seems like right now the most likely candidate for a suit. Even if he's got all the information, a lawsuit for this could be a drain and it could look very petty, even if he has grounds. And most importantly, the guy who did this likely doesn't have funds to compensate Eric for any losses. Like that's kind of the problem with internet trolling right now. Her Montagraph is one of the issues here, right? Like if I win fees from Montagraph, there's no guarantee he has any money to pay me. So whether or not that's a thing. Same thing with this guy. I don't know this guy. I don't know anything about him, but the likelihood is that he's an average guy who probably doesn't have the money to compensate any potential damages done to a now $5 million company. Right. So that's a thing that Eric would have to consider in bringing a suit. It doesn't matter who it's against. If it's against Dick, there's more likelihood that Dick would have money. But again, the evidence that he has is great for an internet gay slap fight. It's not really good evidence at all in court because all it is Vito saying we to one thing, which they could simply show we actually had nothing to do with this. Vito's a fat fucking retard who couldn't figure out how to say anything correct. Some guy sent an email unsolicited, sent it to us. We read it on the show because it's funny. Like that's where that goes. And so I know you guys are like, Dick and Vito tried to harm a charity. Again, this is all based on Vito saying the word we without any evidence that Dick or Vito did anything and with plenty of evidence that someone did something. Until that person is directly tied to Dick or Vito in a tangible way, none of that would actually be a good link to base a lawsuit off of. Great link for internet drama. Perfect. Like that's all you need. Again, I said early on, I think it's perfectly reasonable for Ripa to take that position now that Dick and Vito are involved based on that. I just think it might turn out to be not true. And so depending on where you go with that, that's something that should be done with wisdom and caution. So you don't end up burning yourself, filing lawsuits that can be thrown out and that could, especially if they have slap issues in place where you could really get into trouble with having to pay fees for someone else. That's my point on that. Again, I'm going to be accused of guarding anybody in every scenario. I don't really fucking care. I hate this fight. I love Dick. That'll be clipped. And I love Eric July. Also should be clipped. But this fight between them is turbo fucking gay. And I hate it. I don't want anything to do with any of it because all I want to do is talk to my friends online. This makes it complicated. So I love them both. Fuck them both for carrying on this gay fight. It's so stupid too, because for both of them, this could have been stopped at any moment by either one just going, well, that guy sucks. And then just literally not and moving on and ignoring it. Either one of them could have done that. Neither one could manage to do it. And I fucking hate it. So there you go, guys. There's the trademark. There's the trademark thing. Oh, Dick started the fight. Oh, go fuck yourself, you weirdo. It's the internet, man. You started a fight by criticizing someone. Oh, okay. Well, I've started every fight ever because I criticize people all the time. I know covering the ISOM shit, people are they're gonna have their sides. Eric's audience is significantly larger than Dick's, and they're gonna have a lot of representation. Again, I don't think this should be happening to anyone. But I think jumping to the conclusion that Dick and Vito are behind it is hasty. And the reason I say that is because, look, guys, I've been doing this for a long time in several different communities, including Comicsgate, Gamergate adjacent people, but way later, Internet Blood Sports, the law shit. If you go watch my LawTube, like I'm Not LawTube live stream about the legal bite shit, you can see it. Creators will get into a thing and they don't ever have to ask anyone to do anything because people do everything. Whether you want them to or not is irrelevant. And that's the frustrating thing with this. Let's say Dick and Vito, hypothetically, aren't involved. That doesn't mean they necessarily want or don't want the outcome. Right? Like this other person did the thing. Whether they asked for it or not, some level of trolling was going to have it happen. And let's not make this unique to Dick and Vito. A big part of this whole internet blow up is that once Dick criticized the Rippaverse, it's not that Eric gave a shit. Initially, Eric didn't give a shit at all. His early reactions were, so these guys don't like my comic. I don't give a shit. They say what they want. It wasn't them. It wasn't Eric. It was Eric's audience, right? Like they kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. That's how it works. During the Kick Vic shit, I said over and over, guys, like stop. You don't need to defend me. You don't need to help me. You don't need to do anything. And the reason was people would do it. One, it would get attributed to me. Two, those people were putting themselves at risk for doxing, shit happening to them. And a lot of people got doxxed, they got fired, they got disciplined, they got in trouble with like friends or family. Just bullshit. Because they didn't, like me yelling at people and they're getting in trouble for that. That's stupid. Eric got drawn into this by very, very ardent defenders of him. Did Eric want this fight? No, of course not. But of course, is Eric going to also respond to haters? Yeah, he does. He's very good at it. It's one of the very good draws that he has, right? People love when Eric monetizes haters. But now it's evolved past that. Whether Dick and Vito did it is irrelevant to whether they wanted it to happen. Those are not mutually exclusive things because it's the internet. It's going to happen. So sitting here trying to figure out like who's involved is important in some respects. But at the same time, like, I don't care. You're going to draw your own conclusions on what happened. I don't want to convince you that anyone did anything at all. There's no benefit to me. Like I'm wasting my breath trying to sell you that idea. Because it's not going to work anyway, right? Like, I don't know, Vito was out doing charity work. Like, okay, eating full kids' leftover sandwiches is not charity, okay? Like, so that's not helpful. I don't ultimately care where you come down. I want to be very clear in my assessments and analysis because I have an obvious bias. But my bias actually goes towards everybody except Vito. friends with Dick for a very long time. I like Eric a whole lot. I want Eric to make $1 billion. I want to make ISOM 50, and I want that campaign to make $20 million, whatever it is. Like, I want it to just keep going up. I think it's great. And I've said this before, like Dick's review of ISOM, I don't think it matters if the story is good or not, because the whole point about the parallel economy and independent creation is that it doesn't have to be this, because the community investment in the thing is valuable enough to sell it, whether it's good or bad or whatever. I don't care if it's good or bad. I never would. Doesn't matter to me. I don't think that's relevant. I want it to be good. I want it to get better. I want it to always be a better story than anything anyone else is producing, of course. I don't think that's ever been the expectation or the goal. And I think that got lost in the conversation a long time ago. So I think Dick has every right to criticize the story, of course. I don't think Eric disagrees with that. It's pretty clear from Eric's recent video that his main problem is not the disagreement, is that he has a perception that these people are trying to interfere with business beyond mere internet shit talk. I think his perception of that is reasonably based. I do think it might turn out to be inaccurate. I don't think his perception is unreasonable. I said all this earlier, but again, just to say it, I just don't want to see this turn into like a shitty thing more than it already is. And I think it's already gone too far. But I think, based on what I've seen and what I can kind of surmise about people, I think it's being propagated by a troll acting independently. And I'm not willing to condemn anybody in the situation until that's debunked and actually debunked. So, but again, I don't care if you do, but I'm always open about my biases. I'm always open about why I think certain things, because if I'm going to explain something, I don't want to dupe someone and saying, oh, here's my analysis. And I don't know anything about any of these guys. I have no interest in anything. Let me be clear on the main conclusion here. I hate the fight. I think it's gay. It makes me talking to my friends. And I don't just mean Dick and Eric. I mean, this like greater expanded universe of content creators that I hang out with is very fucking tense behind the scenes. And I have not seen anyone demanding any loyalty or any other shit. But I would not be surprised to see it show up really soon. And I fucking hate the possibility that that might happen, because I don't do that. And anybody who knows me knows the second someone demands loyalty from me in any way to any person on an issue, like groupthink loyalty, I'm out. I'm gone. If one person says, you got to support X, peace. I'm done with you. If I see evidence that someone does a bad thing, I will condemn it. Until then, it's not my fight and I don't want it. All I want to do is get drunk, tell jokes, and have a good time. And every fucking couple months, something like this happens. So, but again, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. So I'm always open with my perspective on things. I try to be very upfront about my relationships and any biases, because I don't want people to get the wrong interpretation on my look at things. My analysis of this lawsuit is that it's very weak. The drama behind it is a little more complicated. I think it went too far a long time ago. I think a lot of people on both sides are to blame for that, but it is what it is. Now it's here. Now it's beyond jokes. Now it's beyond shit talk. And it's in reality, it's wasting a court's time and it's wasting a lot of people's money. And I think that sucks. So, and I really, really, really fucking hope that Dick had nothing to do with it.